Hey everyone, and welcome to the Mint City Soccer Show. I'm one of your hosts, David Gusler. I'm here with my good buddy, Matt Swift. Matt, how are you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, David. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. We're here on a Monday night. We're not doing a live show, but we will have this back up on YouTube and everywhere you find podcasts later. But it feels different doing this. It's been a while, Matt, right?
Yeah, we've done a lot of live shows, but it's good to get back to this format.
Yeah, it's a nice feeling knowing that Corey can edit and change the show for us because we've already messed up. Well, let me rephrase that. I've already messed up twice heading into this intro, and Corey's able to edit and change that for us. So it feels good to kind of start off anew. But Swift, we get to have some fun conversations about Charlotte FC's most recent draw against Vancouver. How are you feeling about that game?
Pretty good. I thought we played well. During soccer and coffee, we talked about predictions, and I said 1-0, but kind of thought maybe it would be 1-1. Again, Vancouver always scores one goal, and sure enough, it ended with a 1-1 draw. I was happy with the point. If you would have asked me before the game if I would be happy with the point, I would have said yes, but our coach was not. And that's kind of a good feeling. But the thing is, too, I think overall, and we'll get into the game, just the way we played, I'm pleased. So it's good to not have lost yet. 2 matches in and 4 points. So pretty good.
It's a weird feeling to have a coach at the end of the game be upset about having a draw and then also be upset and not blame like the fans or expectations. It was kind of like, hey, like I expected us to win this game after the way that we played in the first half. And it's a foreign feeling, and it's have a nice feeling, right?
Yeah, I think Dean really has a good sense of this team and this fan base, and has a really good attitude. And we shouldn't have to settle now for these things. And we did have an opportunity to win this game, but even though that's a little disappointing, again, I go back to the style of play and how we did. And overall, it's good vibes, man.
It is good vibes, and I think that's we've been kind of banging that drum for a little while now. That it's been good vibes this season. Now, granted, we're 2 weeks into the season, so of course there's still gonna be some good vibes, and we haven't really quote unquote lost a match yet. So good vibes are gonna keep going on. But I thought it was a pretty interesting game. I know it's the start of our away leg stretch. We're playing 2 games in Canada. We're playing in Nashville all this month. It's almost a month between home matches for us. So it's going to be an interesting stretch that we have here. And I know on Soccer and Coffee, I think we both said, like you said, that we were okay with a draw. We would prefer a win. But looking at how we played this year versus last year, we've already matched or put more of our match point output at this time last year in 2 weeks than we did in almost like 2 months at this time last year. So to me, that's a huge upgrade and huge win already in Dean Smith's book.
That's right. It's a new team, a new look, a new feel, and we're playing a lot better than I think we did last year. This is a better team. It may not seem like it with some of the losses we have with players leaving, but make no mistake, I think this team's better.
So before we dive into, breakout from the half into the half, there's one last thing I want to ask you about, just the vibe and the feel of this, right? Last year when we were up 1-0, there was this gloom or this like gut feeling that you were like, man, we're going to lose this game. And then then it would become a draw. And then you're like, shit, we're going to lose this game because that's just how we played the past 2 years. Right. It was different for me, at least in this game, that while we were up, I felt confident we were going to win. And even with the draw, I still felt confident that we could finish that match out and walk away with a point. How did you feel about this game and really the overall tone from a playing and performance perspective?
Same, because I felt like we kept creating chances. We kept going forward. We're not sitting on the ball and letting the defense set up. Is like I said, it's just a new dynamic and a new way of playing. And I think the players have bought in. So there's a new belief. There's a lot of energy, and it shows.
So let's dive into this this game recap here. So the beginning of the game, Dean Smith elected to have essentially the same starting 11 as the home opener against a few weeks ago, right? And so when you're looking at that, were you surprised by that? Was anything that stood out to you? I know during Soccer and Coffee, you kind of predicted that we would see the same thing, and a lot of fans were expecting that. What do you think about the starting 11 going up against Vancouver?
I was good with it. I wouldn't change anything, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. And we've talked about continuity with the players that we have out and kind of getting back and healthy. I think it just made sense to roll out the same lineup.
So for me, it was a little bit interesting to see the bench lineup. You had Patrick Agyemang come back from a knock. You had Bill Tuiluma come back from a knock as well that were still available for selection. Obviously, not
Mhm.
starting in the starting 11. Do you expect really? And I don't want to go into the game preview, but just looking at the way that our defense has played the last two games, do you expect to see the same starting 11, especially like a Privet versus a Bill situation at center back moving forward?
I think so for right now with Bill coming back, getting fully healthy, fully fit. I wouldn't change. I literally wouldn't change anything right now. I'd be very weary of doing that. Again, everybody seems to be playing well together, so I don't foresee a change. But you never know what's happening in training. Bill could really do well and oust Privet, but it's Privet's position to lose right now.
Yeah. So let's talk about the first half really. So Charlotte went up. I don't want to say early, but we went up in the first part of the first half. Right, went up 1-0. Charlotte, I felt like was very aggressive in the first 15 to 20 minutes. Put a lot of pressure on Vancouver. Even the announcers were during the game. I don't know if you were able to hear at the Hopfly event or not, but the announcers even like, "Hey, I kind of expected Vancouver to come out here and have possession and take control of the game." And Charlotte is outplaying them in terms of pace, style, possession, passing, everything. Like it was going Charlotte's way for the first 20, 25 minutes, right?
Yeah, it was really good to see the first, 25, 30 minutes, even though we were playing on the road, even though it was Vancouver's home opener, we really took it at them. Vancouver, I think only committed like one foul the whole entire half, which was strange, but
Yeah.
it's nice for us to be aggressive. It's nice for us to push and dictate the game. Um, a lot of times on the road, you tend to sit off and be passive. But again, this is a new team and a new style, and it was really refreshing for us to really take it at them.
Yeah, it was one thing that stood out to me was that the already we mentioned during soccer and coffee that during the first game we didn't really see it too much because of the wind and the weather, but the emergence of the long ball was very prevalent in this game. You had Ashley Westwood, you had the midfield, you had left back, right back, etc., playing or attempting to play long balls. And there's a lot of times where I saw like Corin Vargas kind of sprinting down the side and trapping a ball or volleying a ball and being more aggressive with it than what we've seen in years past. It was a totally different style of play for me the past 2 weeks that we've seen in the past 2 years. And it was kind of refreshing to see us actually attack versus sit back and hope for the best and hope for a mistake to open up a goal for us.
Yeah, I think when you switch it up like that, you're not always going to play that long ball or play something over
Sure.
the top, but it keeps the defense on their toes and keeps them pinned back. We talked about them running three in the back, and how that could make things difficult for us. But that's a good way to pin them back and make them play defense and start making them pick up runners through the middle and everything too. And that's when like some miscommunication can happen. Um, but yeah, I thought we played well. I thought the strategy was well done. Um, yeah, and again, kudos to the black back line. I thought they played really well. I thought Yuri was solid and uh other than his horrible shot in like the 10th minute. Yeah, I thought he played pretty solid. It was a really great back heel from Capetti to keep that ball in, but uh Yuri just he flubs it. I don't think he's used to being up there having a shot like that.
I don't think he's used to being up there than having to use his weak foot in that possession either. So, but you touched on it. I want to talk about Enzo Capetti for a second, especially in that first half, because I know I was very critical of him last year coming in and just his attitude, the way that he played. We talked about in the last episode that like his just vibe seems different. But there were times in this game, especially in the first half, and we'll get to the goal in just a minute. But like he he was fighting for the ball. He was not being selfish. He was passing the ball. When the only time I saw he was selfish is when we had the potential PK. and he immediately went and grabbed the ball because he wanted to take that PK. But which was nice to see, because I know a lot of people gave that criticism from last week. But I thought Enzo played pretty damn well in that first half, even though he didn't score, quote unquote. He played pretty well. What do you think about Enzo's performance in the first half?
Yeah, it was one of his better halves that I've seen him play. The penalty call was in like the 21st minute. Capetti was first to the ball, and it seems like his heel got clipped. So I think if that happens anywhere on the field, that's going to be called a foul. It was called a penalty on the field. It goes to VAR and it gets overturned, which kind of stinks. But honestly, it was one of his better halves. I really like the fact that he grabbed that ball and he was going to take it. The only thing is with him is that he did have a chance to make this 2-0 in the 40th minute.
Yep.
But he doesn't execute. And it's a real shame, because it was one of his best efforts that I've seen him play, but we're going to be talking about that miss. But overall, I thought he played really well.
Yeah. What do you think that was a PK though? Do you think they got the call correct on that moment? Because to me, I know I was talking in Slack a little bit because I was sitting on my couch watching the game, but to me, I thought it was a penalty because it was a scoring opportunity. It was attacking, like he had potential ability to go get the ball, and he got clipped in the box. And yeah, you have contact elsewhere in the field from time to time that doesn't get called, but to me, it prevented him from going and getting the ball. So to me, I think the call should have been stayed as a PK. But what do you think?
No, it looked like he got clipped. I've looked at it a couple of times, and the thing is, it was called a penalty on the field, so you have to have really good evidence to overturn it. And I just don't see how that happened. But we've got replacement refs, so MLS doesn't feel like they need to be paying their referees and keep getting pretty bad calls. So yeah, I thought it was a penalty though.
Not to derail on the ref conversation, but it's interesting because the Canadian Referee Association assigns the refs when they play in Canada versus I think pro in the United States. So maybe someone close to like Jeremy. I know Jeremy's a referee and is close to that stuff. Maybe Jeremy can clarify if those were replacement refs in Canada versus in the United States, or if that affects them at all. I'm just curious. So Jeremy, if you're listening, would love to know from that perspective if that's the thing. And just so you guys know, in the background, Corey, our producer, sent us a message and said he agrees it's 100% a penalty. So I'm glad to know that Corey agrees with us here, Swift. But let's talk about the fun part in the first half. So let's talk about that beautiful goal that we had before we talk about some other players. So I don't remember the minute exactly off the top of my head, but we had an awesome opportunity where he had Breck actually kind of attacking the field down there to the right corner and was able to cross it into the middle of the field. And some people say it was intentional. Some people say it wasn't intentional. I'm going to say it's intentional, but just to make myself feel good. But Enzo Capetti made a dummy play where he acted like he was going to try to go for the ball, but let it go through his legs. And Tavares said that actually, let me see if I said that correctly for those in the background, but actually came up and scored his first MLS goal, which was a beautiful shot, by the way. But what did you think about the goal, that play? Did you think it was intentional by Enzo or what?
Yeah. So I think it was like the 31st or 32nd minute. We get our goal. What's great about this is we do a great job of turning Vancouver over in that situation, and we react quickly. Dahare puts in a good. It starts with Westwood. He gets it quickly, plays it to Dahare, who puts a really great ball in to Capetti. I don't think it was an intentional dummy, but we'll go with it. But Tavares, like any great attacker, follows it up and just hammers this thing home. I did hear during warm-ups that when you have somebody at the top of the box there and they lay it off, and the striker, attackers, they're shooting and everything like that. I heard Tavares was just banging these things home. He was like 10 for 10. So even in training and warm-ups, he was ready to go. He just stuck this thing in the corner.
That's awesome. So, and just for the record, because I saw this come up, and I even asked you pregame, can you pronounce Tavares again for us? So just so, because I know people are giving the announcers some criticism because it's Portuguese, which is a little bit of a different. So like I was saying Tavares last week. How do you correctly say it, Swift? You know?
Yeah. I think what everybody's going with is Tavares, like SH at the end
Tavares.
instead of Tavares. But let me tell you, my Southern accent, and I apologize to anybody that listens, my Southern accent butchers every name, like Yeri Urin, like I keep wanting to say Yuri, like I'm sorry. So my accent does not help with names.
Can I use that excuse too, Swift? Can I use that or no?
Sure. Sure. But I'm
Yeah.
going to try to be better. I'm going
My
to try to
yeah.
try to do better with this.
That's awesome. But no, it was a beautiful shot, beautiful play, beautiful sequence of play as well. And it was good vibes in the first half. So up 1-0. Towards the later end of the first half, I started getting a little bit anxious, and doom and gloom happened here a little bit later. But let's finish up the first half a little bit. So, what did you think about the second half of the first half? So, after we scored, how did Charlotte answer, and how do we respond remaining into going into halftime?
Yeah, I think momentum switched just a little bit. Vancouver started to come forward. They're down a goal, so they start coming forward, and it was a last minute stoppage time. They get an equalizer, and I keep watching it, and I can't figure out why Kalina goes down so quickly. And it looks like their goal scorer like mishits this thing, so it's almost kind of like a fluke goal. Um, Yeah, I think Colleen just goes down way too easy, way too early. And it's a shame because I think we played really well in that first half. But kind of to your point earlier, David, like typically when things get tied up, we all panic and we fold and we come out the next half and we don't play. Um, but yeah, going into the second half, I thought we came out and with just as much intensity. But yeah, we can get into the specifics of the second half if you like.
Yeah, let's dive into it. So, going into the second half, no subs were made for Dean Smith's crown. So, started with the same starting 11. Looking into that, what did you think about, I guess, performance, fitness level? How did they come? Like, how did you think they performed starting in the second half? Because for me, it seemed like we started getting a little bit gassed heading into the second half. Like the press that we were doing later on in the half, not the beginning, but it seems like we were starting to get stretched thin a little bit,
Sure.
starting to get a little gas here and there. But interested to know how you thought our
Yeah.
performance was in the second half.
Yeah, it was a little nervy, a lot more nervy in the second half. Vancouver had some really good chances. Nathan Byrne almost cost us as he flubs a clearance and it falls to Vancouver, who had a really good go at goal. And Kalina, kind of makes up and has a really good save to keep us level. But overall, yeah, you started seeing some tired legs. I mean, I think that's pretty natural considering you're flying from Charlotte to Vancouver to play. Time difference. Again, you're playing on the road. But yeah, I mean, we had some chances too, though. Patrick comes in, he's back in action. He comes on in the 70th minute, and he actually had a really good chance with a great ball from Nathan Byrne, who I just said flub one. But Nathan puts in a really good ball, but Big Pat's header just was super tame and not really a threat, but he was open. And he kind of has to do better there too. But I think there was a little bit of rust with Patrick, who came in. You could tell he's not 100% back in good form, but he'll get there.
One thing that stood out to me about Pat coming on and really the subs that we made last year was almost like super predictable about the subs that we were going to make. It was like, okay, it's the 70th minute, 75th minute. We're going to sub in a left back or a right back. We're going to be more defensive, try to sit on a draw and be happy with 1 point. One thing that stood out to me was like, it wasn't the 70th minute or whenever Pat came on. We weren't like, okay, we're going to put in another defender or go to a 5-back set. no, we're going to sub out Breck, and then we're going to bring on Patrick Ajamain and put Pat and Enzo
Yeah,
up top at the same time at the second half. And it seemed like we were more aggressive with that kind of sub. Now, did it work per se? I don't know if that combination really showed a lot of potential other than a few shots here and there. But I liked the sub because it didn't signal to us that we're sitting back and going, we're okay with 1 point. It seemed that we were able to
exactly.
say, hey, we're going to try to go after another these 3 points and walk away with a win on the road.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I was like, "Ooh, I wonder who Patrick's coming on for." And then Enzo was not called. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting." Because I just assumed that Enzo would come out and Patrick would be up top. But yeah, I think Dean is not going to settle for a draw when, especially when he feels like we've kind of dictated the game, and which I think we did. So it's good.
Yeah. So what about the rest of the subs that came on? So what did you think about Scotty Arfield? What did you think about Hirshimas? I think I just butchered that, but what
No,
did you
I
think
think you
about
did all
them
right.
coming on and getting the minutes they did in the second half?
I think both games now, they really haven't had much of an impact. I mean, they're not having a ton of minutes to play anyway. I think they both came in the 83rd minute, so they're not getting a ton of playing time. But it's good for Berchimas, of course, because he's super young and he's going to get the pace of the game. I think he's going to have to do a little bit better about getting muscled off the ball some. I think that would just come with playing and getting like real time action. So, and Arfield too, again, like, yeah, just not enough time to really make a impact.
Yeah, I think with Hirshimas, you were just saying that, like, I mean, I think it also comes with age and experience. Like the kid's only 16 years old. I mean,
Yeah,
he's small. I mean, he's not small for 16, but he's smaller than the guys out there playing. And so he's going up against
sure.
guys who have
Yeah.
played professionally for 5, 10, 15 years at this point. And, it's going to come with time, experience. Is he going to come out and have a few moments like, get out muscle off the ball? Of course. But the fact that he's even
Yeah.
willing and able to go out there and get minutes already is a pretty damn good sign for Charlotte for sure.
Absolutely. I think, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's the ninth youngest player to ever play in MLS or get his start. So it's good stuff, man. Yeah, he's going to learn. I mean, he's young, like you said, and a little, he's going to have to develop more. But it's good for him to get the pace and the physicality, and yeah, he'll just get better and better.
I'm waiting to see if he scores his first goal, what his celebration would be, especially being a younger kid like that. What the team would do, what he would do, be a really fun celebration. I think if he scores. But yeah, anything else stick out to you in that second half?
No, not really. Yeah, I think it was hard fought. Again, I thought the team played really well, but I will say we had chances to win this game and we didn't, and that's something to be a little mindful of as we go to Toronto and Nashville. Um, we really got to start putting this away, and we had our chances, but didn't. But again, 4 points from two games. We won our first home game and then get a point on the road. That it's something that's difficult to do in MLS, and we're off to a good start.
Yeah, we mentioned on Soccer and Coffee like how difficult it is to get points on the road, and the fact that we traveled across the country and then still was able to get a point. I think is
Mhm.
you could say it's a moral victory, but it's still a good in my book from where we're at. And then if we can do it again this coming up week, that's even better, right? Being able to walk away with
Yeah,
five
absolutely.
points in the first three games would be a huge win compared to where we've been at in the past. So um,
Yeah.
one thing, and I mentioned this earlier, and I know we talked about it offline, was just the difference in style of play. And one thing I just wanted to kind of highlight and just kind of like applaud Dean Smith's system was that and Corey, if you want to pull this up on the screen, and for those who aren't watching this on the YouTube later, we'll tweet this out. But it's from an account Ben Griffiths. So if it's at BEGRIFFIS. So if you want to check him out, he does this for a lot of different MLS games. But this is just a little snippet here, and I just wanted to highlight really what the impact of Dean Smith's system is having compared to what we had last year. On this chart, you can kind of see what the expected really the attack and the threat that is being produced by really our wingers and our midfield. And the big player I wanted to call out here was Ashley Westwood. So last year at this time, if you noticed and you remember Swift, like was kind of playing more of a reserve, kind of sitting back in that CDM role and sitting back, right? You had Brant Bronico, Karol Swiderski pushing up more, and Ashley was sitting back more. But in this system, especially with a player like maybe with Junior Urso, that he feels more comfortable kind of pivoting and sliding up more, but you're seeing them kind of press and push up. And Ashley Westwood's making a huge impact with the passes. And the cool thing with this, I guess, statistic is with expected threat chain is that it's not just passes. So it's not rewarding a player for just passing a ball and crossing it into the box and that's a threat, right? No, it's got to be actual. Where does the ball go? Where does the ball go after it gets to that player? And is there a threat that's been created because of that? And Ashley Westwood, Nathan Byrne, and Curran Vargas were the top 3 rated players in that match against Vancouver for expected threat chain, like by a huge margin. And so you're seeing a huge difference in that. And I think you saw that in the first half. Like Curran Vargas had a lot of chances again in that first half and was able to cross the ball and had a lot of possession in that first half and attacking that right corner. To me, that's a huge like style of play difference, and it's been really fun to watch. What's your thoughts on that, Swift?
Yeah, I mean, we keep saying that, when Westwood gets the ball, he needs to face up and he needs to play progressive and no more of this sideways and backwards stuff, right? Like I'm looking at this graph and for, people that can't see it, like, there's definitely more of an emphasis to go towards the right wing out to Vargas. And that's what we want to see more of. We want that to be super highlighted and utilized. So that's the thing, and that's going to be the real difference. And instead of him getting the ball and he has his back to the attack, like he's got to face up. He's got to get the ball in good position so he can make these plays, and that's going to be crucial for us, I think.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to watch. So if you follow that account, just give him a follow. Like the Charlotte stuff, so he continues to make Charlotte maps. He doesn't do every game of MLS, but if he gets enough follows, enough likes, and enough comments on it, he'll definitely continue to do some Charlotte stuff. So, but it was just an interesting thing. He obviously made a huge chart around just possession passes. So just take a look at that. I just want to give him a quick shout out, but thought that was super interesting just because it kind of solidifies what our eyes are telling us and seeing on the field is that difference of play has been really impactful already, just 2 games in already. So, but Swift, I know that was really the game recap, but you got to watch the game some more fun compared to me, man. Like I was at home, I was chilling, watching on the couch, but where were you at watching this game this past Saturday?
So the Mint City Collective had a big event at Hopfly Brewing. It was amazing, great turnout. We were also celebrating our good friend Lamorte's Chico's beer launch, which is very, very tasty. So it was exciting. We had Carolina Hooligans was out there, Norcus was out there. The Charlotte Soccer Show was set up. They're sponsored by Hopfly, so they were set up doing their show. Top Ben was there. Huge, massive turnout. It's a great space for watching a soccer game.
Yeah, I saw some pictures and some videos, man. Like it was a pretty decent turnout. I'm jealous I didn't get a chance to try that beer, but I got Max from Mint City Collective obviously grabbed me some, which is big shout out to you for helping me out with that. So I'll be getting that next home game hopefully. But so was Chico back there like brewing it for you guys? Was he a bartender serving the beer for you guys, or like what?
No, he wasn't doing that, but apparently he helped actually brew it. I don't know how much of that I actually believe, but that's what I was told.
Was he the one that told you that though?
I think he may have been one of the people that told me that. But the can design is beautiful. It kind of is like his mask. It's black and white. It's a gorgeous can. It's tasty. It's a type of beer that is perfect for like a tailgate, light. And refreshing. Had a lot of those that night. But yeah, it's a cool space. They had a DJ, they had vendors set up, and for Mint City Collective, we're going to be there again this coming weekend, and it's definitely a spot that we've put on our rotation for people that maybe don't know. We're changing up a little bit. We have a lot of chapters that are outside of Charlotte, and those are going to kind of stay the same. Chapters that are in the Charlotte area, and of course we'll have watch parties there, but we're having a more of an emphasis on bigger watch parties where we get bigger groups out, just to have more of a family feel, more of a community feel to it, and inviting other support groups out too. So I think a lot of people saw that Saturday, and that's something that we're going to continue to do. We'll rotate, Hopfly. We're going to go to Salute, and there's some other places that will be, and we'll put out information for that. But I think it was a great start, and it's something that I'm glad that we're doing.
You had me at Salute, sir. The minute you have a Salute party, I'll be making the trip up for sure. So, no, so that's awesome. So you guys are going to have it again.
For that, for sure.
So y'all are going to have it again next away match at Hopfly or what?
Yeah, I believe that's the plan. We're going to do it again there. And then, like I said, we'll start moving around some, but yeah, coming out.
It's awesome.
Good time.
Awesome. I'll try my best to come up there this game. I can't promise it, but I will try my best to come up there. I did hear that my buddy was able to finally, just to set the record straight here, my buddy was able to deliver the Blantons that I got for you on July 25th of 2023. And it is only March, 3rd, 4th of 2024. So I've heard that the delivery finally touched down and got into your hands. Is that correct?
Yeah, Brandon Byerly is a good man. So he made sure that I got it, and it only took months and months to get it. But yeah, it's in my possession. It's in my bar. So I really do appreciate it. Thanks.
That's awesome. It's only taken like 6 months. It's fine.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
Yeah. So, but awesome, man. So, what was your favorite part from that event, by the way? Because like I know, like when I was president and we were doing this the first year, like we did a lot of like more smaller bar chapter affiliations, and we had like one event, like I think the Lenny Boy at the very beginning of the year was a big kickoff and those kind of things like that. But it looked really cool to see that many fans there, kind of supporting it. It creates more of a, I don't want to say like a supporter section feel, but more of like a camaraderie a little bit with the fans all in the same section, right?
Yeah, I would agree. It creates energy and it creates buzz and excitement. And it's just nice to be able to walk around the room and just bump into people that you haven't seen, or talk to old friends and make new friends. You see new faces there. It's just amazing. And like, it's kind of cheesy, but like, it's just nice to see people's faces. So it was a good time, and I'm glad that we're doing it. And like I said, we'll be back next weekend.
Are you going to be there this next weekend, Swift?
I'm gonna go camping this weekend. I need to get outdoors and go camping, do some fly fishing, and just be out in nature. So I'm gonna take a little bit of a break because I am going to Nashville. So my kidneys probably need a little bit of a break too. So
get some sunlight and vitamin D before you do that. It'll be good. So it's awesome, man.
That's
well,
right.
I'm really glad to hear that. I'm glad it was a successful event. Photos and videos looked awesome. Big shout out to Paul, who was on the drum. I saw one video where he's just banging the drum in this huge like brewery, just banging it so it's echoing, and it was awesome to see everyone singing and chanting, even though like they're not playing live there, but they're still singing and chanting happening there. So that was a nice feeling there.
Yeah. So there wasn't any commentary. So we did it with no commentary at all, and some chants broke out. So that was kind of nice, and it was a different way to watch the game. I gotta say, it's kind of good.
Interesting. So what you're telling me is that we need to bring a Bluetooth speaker and have Willie P and Jess on dial for when we do the next game. There is what you're telling me. That sounds good, Swift. Well, awesome, man. Well, let's take a quick break real quick, and I don't know if you hear that music starting to flow inwards, but that means we're here for an ad break. So we'll be right back. Swift, you hear the music. You know what that means. We're here for our wonderful ad sponsor and ad break for the Mint City Soccer Show. So this show is brought to you by who, Swift?
Renegade Goalkeeping.
So big thank you to Renegade Goalkeeping. They're amazing. So right now, all Renegade Goalkeeping gloves come with their like 30-day no questions asked warranty for exchanges and defects. That's kind of what you always get. By joining their now like VIP club, they give you a total of 60 days of coverage. And the great thing about the VIP club is both the warranty and the insider access. Members get deals and specials that the general public don't even see. So head to their website, sign up, enjoy all the great things that Renegade has. Again, Ryan, the owner, is a Mint City Collective member. He's a really great guy. It's a local business, so go support them and go follow
Renegade.
Just and if you're wanting to follow them on social, make sure you do that. Renegade GK, and their website is renegade-gk.com. So thanks again, Renegade, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks to that wonderful ad read by Matt Swift here. So, Matt, so there are some unconfirmed but confirmed, not really, rumors that, Charlotte FC is potentially getting a new player. And so I'm going to probably butcher this just for a second here. But Charlotte FC, and this is from Pete O'Rourke off of Twitter. So it's at SportsPeteO. But he's reported that Charlotte FC and Celtic has come to terms on a winger named Leo Abada to join MLS and Charlotte FC. So there's been some back and forth on the reported spend. I've seen anywhere from like 3 million to 8.5 million. So there's a very large span of a difference there for it. But what have you heard about this player? What, like, have you researched him at all? Have you played with them with Football Manager? What's your thoughts on this potential signing for Charlotte FC?
Well, I from what I understand, we were actually in for him last summer. I believe they were wanting around 12 for him. Of course, it didn't come off because he didn't join us, but it's someone I think they've had on their radar with his current situation, kind of the political climate. It's just a really kind of good time for him to make a move, and we're getting him for cheaper, which is great for us too. And we're getting a really good player. It's something that we've been clamoring for. So I mean, if you for folks that are not watching this on YouTube, we have the highlight reel pulled up here. He's quick. He's good with his feet. He's a great goal scorer. He just hasn't really been able to play lately with everything going on. So it's just nice again to get him over here. Brendan Rodgers, which his manager admitted that he didn't play him due to concerns for his family during this ongoing conflict in the Middle East. But when he does play, man, he scored 22 goals and registered 29 assists in 112 appearances. So it's just another great piece that we're going to add, and it's something that everybody's been wanting. So it's Monday night now. I'm pretty sure he's going to be in Charlotte, maybe even Tuesday, start getting the physicals and all that going. So we should probably hear an announcement this week. So I am just super pumped. If you can, go watch the highlights. They're all over YouTube. Yeah, this is good stuff, David. What do you think?
Yeah, and so the highlights we have up is from Celtic TV. So if you pull that up on YouTube, you'll see that there. But yeah, I mean, the cool thing was on this highlight was that he's played both sides of the field, right? He's played left wing and right wing. So he's shown some flexibility there. He's played mostly right wing, but you touched on it there, was that we're signing a winger potentially. I keep saying potentially because things can always fall through, but that
Sure.
He's actually shown production of scoring. He's had back-to-back seasons of 10 plus goals. We have yet to sign a winger that's shown that they can do that. Like no shade thrown to Camille or anything like that, but Camille was coming from a bad derby side that he didn't even score many goals on that side. This individual has obviously played more matches, played in a different league, etc., but has shown that he can score at a consistent rate, which I think is huge for us. And then the fact that we touched on it at the beginning of the show, we've been forcing these long balls and playing on the wing a lot more this season. So it feels like we're kind of like already got the system in place. Now we're just going to plug this puzzle piece in and get more assists and goals and outputs from there. So it's a win-win for Charlotte, and especially like you said, they got him for a cheaper deal and got him for a better value. That's a huge win. Now he's, I think, 22, so he's going to be a youth designated player, so not a U22, but a youth designated player from a contract perspective and roster spot. But I know it was painful beginning of the offseason having Carroll and Camille get offloaded, and we're all sitting here like, Obama hands, like, what's going on? But now you're seeing the benefit of this because we were able to clear players off the books and bring in talent like this potentially for huge spend. Like that's a pretty big spend, $8.5 million. That, especially if we were trying to get him for like 10 or 12, get him for 8.5. That's a huge difference there for us.
Yeah, there may be some like add-on clauses and stuff like that too. But I mean, then who cares? Who cares how much he costs? Like, isn't that kind of like what we've been playing about too? Like, who cares if we overpay? Like, it has the criticism of Tepper in the front office of like, oh, we've got all this money. How come we're not spending? So I don't want to see anybody like really talk about fees or anything anymore. Like, who cares? Like, go get your player, get someone who can produce. And to your point, David, like he does produce, and we need that because, people were saying, well, where are the goals going to come from, when we're losing Carroll? But, so far we've Tavares, we've got Malanda, and, our defenders are not going to always score. So we do need some production. And also too, just in general, now we're going to have some depth once he's here. We got Tavares, we have Vargas, we have a lot of like, good things that we can interchange now too, and have some different strategies. And so, yeah, David, this is all good stuff. So I'm looking forward for him to join. I think once he's here, we probably will see him, I believe, as soon as the Cincinnati game. That's what I'm hearing. Things can change. Visas are always tricky, but could see him as soon as Cincinnati.
It's pretty big. The only thing I don't want to say like a downfall, because I haven't watched him play, so I have no idea. But just looking at paper, he's a short little dude. He's 5'5" is what he's listed at. So that's even shorter than Messi. So Messi's 5'7". He's 5'5". But hey, if he scores goals, he produces. He's got that low center of gravity where he's not going to get knocked over. We're good.
Messi is not 5'7". I'll go ahead and tell you that. I've seen him on the field when, he's not 5'7".
Awesome, Swift. So pretty exciting news for Charlotte FC, and hopefully that gets announced within the next day or two, and we can all celebrate officially. Real quick prediction: what number do you think he's going to get when he signs with Charlotte?
Oh my God, I have no idea. What's available right now?
I'm going to say 11.
That could be a good one. Who has 22 right now?
No one, I don't think.
Yeah, because Justin Meram, it was Fuchs, Justin Meram. That might be my bet. 22.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm going to say 11. You say 22. So one of us is going to be either double or nothing. So that'd be good. So awesome, man. Well, we had a very interesting and fun conversation on Soccer and Coffee. And the I don't want to say a derail because it was fun, but we had a lot of opinions and voices come on Soccer and Coffee to talk about one thing, and it was a very special term, and the word is Open Cup. So I know me just saying that instantly just heightened people's awareness. Personal opinions popped up. People are driving in their car and they're going to go, Open Cup. Oh my God, I have thoughts and opinions. So I know you said you wanted to share a little bit more thoughts, a little bit more opinions on this. And then I'm sure we're going to get tweeted at afterwards because no one's here to argue against you on it except for me. So what you got for us on Open Cup conversation just to continue that since Saturday?
So many people are already rolling their eyes, but so let me start this conversation off with, I really like the Open Cup. I hope it stays. I hope MLS can work something out where they come back into Open Cup fully, and this tournament is better for it. Here's the thing that people are not going to like. I understand why MLS does not want to be in this tournament as it is. Let me preface that. As it is. So I have kind of like a little analogy. So just bear with me for a little bit here. Okay.
Okay.
So all you
holding
listeners
on.
out there and all you listeners, all you viewers out there, you have a podcast and it's the biggest podcast around, right? You have the most listeners. You have the most money for budget and everything like that. Okay. You are top dog. So, but every year you do this event. It's kind of like Battle of the Bands, but it's like for podcasts, right? All these little podcasts come and they have this event with you. You basically win this thing every single year. There's no surprise, right? Because again, you have the most viewers, listeners, you have the most money. It's great. So when this event kind of first started, though, your big podcast was kind of growing a little bit, but all these little podcasts were like, and the podcasting governing body was like, hey, podcast owner, we want you to like pay for everything and like market this and make this super beneficial for everybody. Now, keep in mind, podcast owner, no one likes you. All these other podcasts are their own entity. They hate your guts. Their fans hate your guts. So, but they want you to pay for everything. They want you to expense everything, and they want you to do this year after year after year. And at first, you're like, "Yeah, we'll take this on for the betterment of the podcasting community. Like it sounds good. You know, we're still kind of growing ourselves." And then you get to this spot where you're like, "Okay, this is a financial burden. The podcasting governing body is really not helping us at all." And also, too, no matter what we do, people are mad at us because even though we're spending our money, we're not spending enough, apparently, for everybody because we're not marketing it enough. We're not doing all these things, right? And also, too, they're going to also get mad at you because even though you're spending all of your money at the gate, you're recouping more than the other little podcasts that are chipping in basically nothing. So everybody's going to get mad at you about that as well, too. So again, but we just want you to stick around and pay for everything. But at a certain point, you get to a level and you're like, okay, like we're big enough now, but we want to expand. We want to broaden our brand, get out there more because we want to grow because people are also yelling at you that you're not big enough, that you're not growing enough, right? We're not getting enough attention. We're not getting enough, sponsors and all this stuff, right? It's just constant complaining about no matter what you do, it's wrong. So you want to go to this other event, right? Where you're going to get more eyeballs and you're actually going to make money over here because this is a money pit over here, the event that you've been doing for years. So you want to go do this other event. You get more eyeballs, more attention, because that's also what people have been wanting you to do. So you go do that. But all these little podcasts over here are like, hey, where are you going? I'm like, well, we're going over here because we're tired of paying for everything. You hate our guts. And we're getting to a spot where if we're going to grow, we have to start playing and messing with bigger podcasts and doing these other things. But they were like, wait, we've been doing this for years. This is for the betterment of the podcasting community. Like, what are you doing? You guys are dicks. Like, yeah, well, you think we're dicks anyway. So again, like all these little podcasts are mad, right? And they're like, we hate your guts. This is why we hate your guts. But also we want you to stay because we need you to pay for everything. So that's kind of my analogy. That's kind of how I see it. It's like, I get that people love the open cup with their hearts, but you also have to think about this with your head too. Like, it's not right for Major League Soccer, that is its own entity, to pay for other entities that they're competitors, and they're paying for everything. And again, all these other leagues, they hate MLS. Their fans hate MLS. So why in the world, if you're hated and you're having to pay for everything and you get blamed for everything, why in the world would you want to stay in the tournament the way it is? So the MLS has a ton of things that they do wrong, just like this refereeing situation. They're not without fault. They are super moronic about a lot of different things, but this Open Cup stuff, they may be partly at fault, but they're not solely at fault. It's the Soccer Federation. It's all these other leagues too that need to have some skin in the game. It is not right. It is not fair to expect one league to pay for everything. And that's kind of my issue with what people are saying. It's like, MLS sucks. I'm going to boycott Leagues Cup and do all these things. It's like, you want the league to grow. You can't play the Greenville Triumph that has 1,500 fans there. I'm sorry. And again, this rubs people the wrong way. We had 3,000 fans at the Sportsplex. You couldn't even sell out the Sportsplex that has 5,000 capacity. So, like, the game against Chelsea was super important because here's the everything's a money grab apparently too. Like anytime MLS wants to do something, like have a friendly, it's a money grab. This tournament, it's a money grab. How do you grow the league if you don't have like Chelsea come into play, Necaxa, like all these teams from Liga MX? So like, how do you grow? You can't grow by playing Richmond. It's a great tournament. I love history more than anything, and I love tradition, but the tournament itself needs to change. U.S. soccer needs to change and help. It shouldn't be the burden of MLS, and that's my only thing. Now, I think this whole situation is idiotic, but it's not solely on MLS.
So I have some follow-up questions for you, Swift. Are you ready for this? First,
I guess.
How dare you? I'm just joking. No. So I see it from both sides, and so I couple things just to kind of piggyback off what you said. So would you say that the Manchester United and Liverpool game that's happening in Colombia in the middle of god awful summer is a money grab? Yes or no?
No, no, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
What do you think happened? What do you think happened here before we got an MLS team? And the reason we got an MLS team is not just because David Tepper has money. David Tepper has money, but he saw with all of those international games that came all those summers before how popular it was. So I don't want to hear it. I'm so sick of people saying it's a money grab. It's just a simple, like, quick thing that they can say, and it's supposed to be like, oh, it's a money grab. Like, what do you think those international games do?
I mean,
like, I don't know.
Yeah. And that's what I mean, and that's the and I asked you that question for that reason, right? Because it helps grow the game from that perspective. Like people in Colombia, where I'm 15 minutes from that stadium, right? And people know I'm a huge soccer fan. Like I go to the gym and go with the trainer, and like he instantly was like, "Hey, are you getting tickets to the Man United and the Liverpool game?" And I'm like, I'm thinking about it. I'm not really sure, but just thinking about it. But like, never talked about going to games until now that it's coming to Colombia, right? And so it's like it does help grow that perspective. It's not just for money. I mean, I'm sure there's a business perspective from it, but yeah, it does help.
Yeah, some of it is absolutely about money because you have to have money to run clubs and have nice things. But like, here's the thing: one of the main reasons I'm in Mint City Collective is because I saw them at the Arsenal Fiorentina match. Like all the pregame stuff, I was like, who are these crazy dudes in Mint? And then I made friends with Johnny Wakefield and he suckered me into all this stuff. But we didn't have a team then, but like, look how popular these games are. And like, look, the one thing I will agree with is that I hate that MLS keeps saying schedule congestion. I think that's bullshit. I hate that they're using that excuse. I wish they would just come out and say, we're just tired of paying for it. Like, yeah, we want to make money. We want to make money so we can get better players, so we can pay people more. But they also need to like pay the refs. Like I said, MLS is not a saint. They do some horrible stuff that I absolutely cannot stand. Some of the rules are idiotic. But like this Open Cup thing is not black and white, and I'm getting kind of tired of the same old like, oh, MLS is the bad guy always. I'm like, sometimes, but I don't think the Open Cup stuff. No, why should they stay in that tournament? But like this whole money grab thing I get so sick of it. Like it's
and
it's
and
a tired thing.
not to belabor the point and just to kind of like go on to deep rails, but I know we always compare it to the FA Cup, etc. But the difference though with the FA Cup is that it's the same pyramid. Like it's different. It's the same pyramid, so it's not competing with each other. It's teams trying to move up the ladder, and
exactly
in the United States, it's like 4 or 5 different entities trying to compete for the same dollar and the same fan. So that's I get it, but you can't compare. It's not apples to apples from that.
I get so tired of that comparison too. It's like, well, it's what they do in the FA Cup. I'm like, no, MLS and all these other leagues are direct competitors. So you're asking MLS to pay for your competitor to benefit. All these other lower leagues are absolutely going to benefit from MLS coming to town. But how is it even remotely right?
Yeah, it would be like the NFL is. Right? It'd be like the NFL is playing against the XFL and wanting to basically have a tournament for them, and then having the NFL pay for all of it, and XFL benefiting from it, right? So it's two different competing entities from that perspective. So
yeah,
but I do have to say one last comment. I was just going to say, Chris is going to be very upset that you threw Greenville under the bus here for a second during the show. So
I just used them because they're low. I could have said Charleston, but no. So here's the thing: like what I have always wanted was the Open Cup to not have MLS at all, because I want to see like Appalachian FC, Greenville, Charleston, they be on a larger stage and actually get visibility. Without MLS always wins. It's boring.
Correct.
It's boring. What's fun is the kind of the second and like third round games when there's like more teams from these lower leagues in.
It's fun because also you get really crappy production value, and it's just really fun because you get the people that are recording it on an iPhone sitting here like streaming the game this way. And then like you said, it's the lower division games. The minute it gets into the semis or the quarterfinals, it's basically 1 or 2 USL teams, and then it's all MLS. And it's just like, all right, cool, whatever. Yeah, right. And then it's just, I don't know. I agree with you on that perspective. Like I kind of look forward to being able to see, Charlotte Independence, Greenville, Appalachian FC. What's the team that just the MLS Next Pro team that just opened up towards like High Point and Greensboro area? I want to see them. I want to see
Carolina Core.
Yeah, Core. Yeah, exactly. I want to see them. I want to see Charleston. I want to see all these different teams from, throughout the Carolinas and throughout other areas get a chance to move up and play. That's what I want to see. Not so much Messi coming in and not playing at all until the semifinals and then scoring 5 goals against Birmingham.
Yeah.
Yippee. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I hate this new format, and I hate that MLS teams are kind of taking advantage of the situation. But it is what it is. Like the way the tournament is right now, it's not good. And like I said, it needs to be fixed. But it's not MLS's responsibility to fix it. So, but again, I'd like to see these lower level teams battle it out, and maybe the winner gets some type of benefit. Maybe they get to be in a huge tournament with all the big boys or something like that. That to me would be fun, and something that I would want to watch because I love lower level leagues. I mean, it's more intimate, smaller crowds and stuff like that. And I love like grassroots soccer, but again, like I think it's silly to ask MLS to foot the bill for all that for the greater good of the game. That sounds nice. But I think if you were in that situation, and that's why I try to do that analogy, I think if you were in a situation if someone was trying to ask you to do that, you'd be like, no, hit the bricks, dude. I'm not doing that. You might for a little bit, which MLS has done. But again, if you're hated and like having to foot the bill for everything, why would you keep doing it? So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I know most people will disagree with me.
I can't wait to have soccer Twitter all of a sudden just hate the show Swift because of this. So I cannot wait.
Yeah,
Awesome, man. Well,
probably.
no, I think that's good. Good conversation. I'm glad we're having it, and I'm glad to see that Mike and Becca cannot say anything after listening to the show. So they'll have to come back on the next Soccer and Coffee and give their rebuttal. So I'm just joking, but no, you make a really good analogy there, Swift. I think it makes a good point for everyone involved. So, you ready for some fan Q&As?
Let's do it.
Awesome, man. So I'm gonna read a few questions here. We're gonna power through these and see what we got going on. So we got some really fun ones here too. So Matt Nolan says first, did we deserve 3 points because of our first half play, or should we be happy to have gotten a road point? In advance, also curious about what y'all think we need to do in Toronto and Nashville combined.
I would say we deserve three points, and we certainly had our chance to again kill that game off. So yeah, I think we definitely deserve to win. As far as what to expect against Toronto and Nashville, um, 2 more draws I'm perfectly okay with. I'd like to get a win in here. I think a win would be really great, to go back to back to back on the road, to pick up 4 points on the road. So yeah, we'll see. Toronto's doing a little bit better than expected. So, but we'll see. But yeah,
Since I put money on Charlotte FC to win the league and win the world, I'm going to say we're going to go undefeated on this road trip. So I think it means we draw in Toronto and win in Nashville. That's what I want to have happen, Swift. Awesome. So
that'd be great.
This next question comes from JJ. So with the new right wing youth designated player that we just spoke about a few minutes ago, who do you think ends up starting at left wing and why? Do you think it's going to be Vargas or do you think it's going to be Tavares?
I mean, that's going to be the big question. I think that's where we're going to see in training who is outdoing who, and you might see some rotation. I guess it's just going to be who's more in form. Right now, I would go with Tavares, but yeah, you don't know, but it's good to have that competition for sure.
So speaking of just new signing, right? So with Abada, so David Kelly asked this question. So the team has likely had minimal drama this offseason and is off to a good start. So without going to actual politics in the matter, is there a danger signing Abada after his experience at Celtic, and is he worth the risk for the club? So I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are from that perspective.
So I've already seen some folks start talking about this whole situation, and I just want to be very clear, and maybe this will upset some people too. If you talk about it and make it a thing, it becomes a thing. So if you don't talk about it, it doesn't become a thing, and it shouldn't be a thing anyway. Let this man get here and play some football. To me, I never care where someone is from. Just because you're from a place doesn't mean anything. So I think we all have a responsibility to not just bring this up and start talking about it and make it a thing and let other people just start commenting wildly and make this something that it really shouldn't be. If he says something he shouldn't, then we'll address it. But until then, it doesn't matter. Let him come here and play football.
Agreed. Nothing else to add to that. I 1000% agree. So, Chantry wants to know, aka Westwood T Gang. I'm sure you won't know a huge amount about the Abada signing at this point, but what do you think his ceiling is with us? He says he's pretty high on him, and he think he can achieve similar things to some other designated players in Atlanta potentially. So, what do you think?
We need an all-star. We need somebody to go to these MLS all-star games. And I foresee someone like him finally being our guy. We thought maybe it would be Carroll. But he's gone. So I see a high ceiling here. I see someone that could be with this team for 2 or 3 years, and then Europe come calling back, right? And we sell them all for a ton of money. But hopefully he'll be here for a long time. And again, like it'd be nice to have an all-star.
Agreed. It would be really nice to have a reason to watch that game. So, especially since we're not doing goalie wars this year again. So that's kind of disappointing, or no mention of it yet. So hopefully they bring that back to a certain extent. So this next question comes from Greg Fenwick. So Greg says and wants to know, what's your thoughts on Toronto? So preseason probably picked them to be one of the worst teams in the league. But I think this Saturday is going to be a tough match. They're coming off a road draw at Cincy, a road win at New England, and now they play us at their home opener. So probably flying higher than ever, even higher than us at this point. So I know we're going to do like a preview little episode or a video come out later this week, but just kind of give a quick synopsis of what you think of Toronto so far.
Yeah, I mean, back-to-back clean sheets too. Sean Johnson pretty much has kept them in the game, but Toronto has Bernadeschi and Signé on the field, so you have to neutralize them. But I think they were a little lucky against New England. If you look at some of the stats and everything, I think that tells the real picture there. But again, 2 clean sheets. We're gonna have to really take advantage of our chances and neutralize their big players.
Too bad they don't have Michael Bradley anymore. I'm just joking. So, or Bob, one of the two. Be fine. Awesome. So let's get into some fun questions here, Swift. So the first kind of fun question, and I saw you kind of respond back on Twitter back and forth a little bit with them too. But Michael Gallimore wants to know, what is your favorite ramen, Matt Swift?
So I make it's called Yakimen. So it's a certain type of beef and recipe, and I'll put this online too. I think I posted a photo, but it's one of the best things I've ever had. I got the recipe from Garden and Gun cookbook, which I can also share. But that's been my favorite that I've had. I have eaten a lot of ramen in packets and in cups. But I definitely want to find some more restaurants. So if people can give us their recommendations, that would be awesome. I think Willie P did online, but yeah, let's send us some recommendations.
So I love ramen. I love really like a lot of Asian cuisine and Thai and Japanese and all sorts of stuff. But so there's obviously in Charlotte, you've had things like Fuda Buddha come out for a little while. That's on South End. But like you, I've similarly had packets and cups. Ironically, I actually had ramen earlier tonight for dinner, but it wasn't just like a cup of noodles type thing. It was actually like I made my own kind of, I guess it was like pad thai a little bit with ramen noodles. So made my own little sauce in it, put some chicken in it, different things like that. But if you ever come down to Columbia, Swift, there's a place called Duke's that's really good, and they have a ramen bar, so you can pick the different broths, different types of noodles, protein, spiciness, etc. So
yeah,
we'll have to bring you there one day.
Okay.
Laura turned it on to me, so it's a pretty.
I
good
like
thing.
it. Yeah,
so,
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, so it's a nice little hole in the wall place. It's awesome. So, but Corey in the message, just so you guys knew from the background here, says Duke's. That should be a mayo ramen. So no, it is luckily not a mayo ramen. It is just it's just the name of the place. I don't know why, but it's right in West Columbia, right outside of right not far from the stadium. So it's pretty cool. But and then the last question here is from Becca Mitchum, and she wants to know, what is your favorite guilty pleasure movie, Swift? So like that one movie that could be one that people don't like, or one that you're just like, man, I turn it on and I instantly just have to finish watching it because you just love it from start to finish. What's that guilty pleasure movie for you?
The first movie that comes to mind is Major League. I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure because I really like it, but yeah, as a kid, around like when I was like 9 or 10, I had it on VHS, and I literally wore the tape out because I would just watch it and rewatch it. And probably at 9 or 10, probably shouldn't be watching it considering some of the language and scenes in it, but and I still quote it to this day. Actually, at the last home tailgate, BJ, who's a member, I quoted the movie to him, and I was like, "Do you even know what that movie is?" But I quote it all the time, and some people have no idea what I'm saying. But yeah, Major League would be the one.
So I have, I guess I'll use my childhood guilty pleasure movie, and then I'll use my one now. But similar to you, I guess. But it's a baseball movie, I guess. But I used to watch the crap out of it on my VHS, like VCR, and it would be on just loop constantly. Angels in the Outfield. You ever seen that movie?
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
Christopher
Absolutely.
Lloyd, everything like that. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
not a good movie, but I used to watch that a ton as a kid. But now I would say my guilty pleasure is Step Brothers, for a few reasons. One,
Yeah.
it came out on my birthday, so like I will always remember that movie because I went to go see it
Oh.
on my birthday, and I
Oh.
went into it completely blind, having no expectations or what this movie was even about. But then
Oh.
just the comedic gold of what that movie is, and so many quotable scenes. Catalina wine mixer, the drum scene where Will Ferrell and him's fighting over the drums, the bedroom bunk
Wait,
bed scenes. There's so much in there.
did you not see any previews of the movie before you went in?
No, absolutely none. So like I
You had
can't remember
no
how old I
idea
was.
what that movie was about.
I had no freaking idea. So at the beginning of it, when they're just standing outside the house and the
Wow.
LCD sound system comes on, and they're just staring at each other, and like, Brendan has like the shirt that's like almost like a belly shirt, but it's like a dinosaur or something like
Yeah.
that. Just staring. I'm just like, this movie's gonna be amazing. So I mean, that was back when Shark Week was a big
Wow.
thing, and they're watching Shark Week on there. Like, yeah, that movie just anytime it comes on, I have to just stop what I'm doing and just keep it on and watch it and finish it because I love that movie.
Wow. Okay.
If that tells you anything about my humor, I think it tells you a lot. So
I love that movie. Yeah. That's a good one.
I do too. Yeah. So awesome questions, y'all. So we love the fan Q&A. Always some fun ones in there for it too. But Swift, any final thoughts before we end the episode here for us on a Monday night?
No, just looking forward to this next game. Like I said, Mint City Collective is going to be at Hopfly again, and be on the lookout for our newsletter and just social media post. It will kind of let you know where some of our other watch parties are. And like I said, we're not nixing, like watch parties and Matthews and things like that, or down, at our coastal chapter or Boone or anything like that. But we are kind of going a little heavier on some bigger events, which I think paid off Saturday. So more of that to
Yeah,
come.
absolutely. So definitely had some FOMO on my side, just looking on social media. So just a quick plug before we finish off. Make sure you guys follow, like, and subscribe the show. We're all over social media. So we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Are we on Snapchat, Swift? I don't know. I don't think we are. But we're
No,
all over the
not
place.
Snapchat.
We're on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on there, and then obviously continue to check out the merch. I saw a tweet earlier today, which was amazing. I can't remember who it was, Swift, but I know you responded to it. But they were responding to a thread on Twitter about char grill burgers or cookout, and they were like, "I'm totally
Mm.
obsessed with cookout. It's not like I totally listened to a show that has a soccer ball and a corn dog on a hoodie and shows a picture of him wearing the hoodie." And I'm like, that is amazing. I love that. I need to pull that person up. I got to find that tweet from earlier, and I need to send them some love for that because that's amazing. So that made me feel pretty good from that perspective. But yeah, make sure you follow us on there and give a thumbs up, leave a review, tell us how much you hate Matt Swift's open cup takes. It's all good. So
I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are not going to like that, but that's just my thought.
you're
I just hope people will think about it a little differently. I get it. I get the animosity towards the league, but maybe just a little different perspective. But thanks for
yeah,
listening regardless. And
absolutely
I appreciate all the debating back and forth, even if I don't agree.
awesome. Well, I think that closes our thoughts for the night. So Swift, see you later this week, buddy. Enjoy camping, and we'll see everyone later.
See you, everybody.